So we're talking about this again. Anime executives reveal how manga is taking over U.S. comic sales. There's actually a very interesting Twitter thread here that I'm going to go through a little bit as well. But this is kind of stating the obvious to me. Marvel Comics and DC Comics are just about done. You can go to Comic-Con sales and look at just how bad comic sales are. And it's funny when I see comic bros celebrate how anime and manga is doing good. It's like, oh, this is good for the comic industry. It's not good at all. This is literally like Toyota coming in and just taking over all of Ford and Chevy's, all in Ford and Chevy's market share. And some of these people are celebrating that. You're going to be out of a job. You're going to be out of a job because of manga. Manga's doing good. And this is why I say that there's still an interest in comics. There's just more of an interest in good stuff. One little take here, we can go and jump over here real quick, and I can show you something. So this is The Freshman. It's Axe body spray plus Marvel. So what this is Axe came in and said, hey, Marvel, will you create us some superheroes so that we can sell Axe? And it looks like they're going to make like a little mini comic or something. It's terrible. I want you to take a look here. Got some fat dude, fat girl, and all of the characters pretty much hit a lot of check boxes. When you have American creators now, in the comic industry for sure, they have to hit checkbox after checkbox after checkbox as far as pandering before they can even write a story. And they have to make sure that that story doesn't make anybody angry, do any kind of offensive thing. That's how they pretty much drive their stories. And look at how bad the designs are. None of these look cool. When you think of like My Hero Academia style, or even you jump over here and look at this Akira hit. I want to talk about this in another video about this anime series for Akira, but look how cool that looks. And then you jump over here to this. This looks dull, boring. I don't want to see fat people running around as superhero. I don't want to see that. No one does. I want to see strong people that are like fit and doing, heroic things, not, grabbing for the last Twinkie. No one wants to see that. But I really thought that this captured just how creatively bankrupt the comic industry is. I really think that this captures it so well because this is horrible. No one wants this. But yet this is what Marvel pushes out all the time. And it's not just comics that are getting ruined. Make no mistake, you're seeing a lot of interest from Hollywood picking up these stories. They're trying to do an Akira movie. They want to do a My Hero Academia movie. They want to do a lot of Japanese anime movies. Not just, animated form, but they want to get live action versions of them. They've never been very good. Maybe one day they'll get it right. But what's the reasoning why these companies are coming in? You see, Sony trying to jump in, Warner Brothers trying to jump in. Everyone's trying to get a piece of that anime and manga pie. I believe that's why Sony bought Funimation, actually, was to jump into the anime market. Why is that? Because they're doing well. You look at Hollywood. There was recently just a big article that said, it's time for a female The Mask. Remember that old Jim Carrey movie? So that's their big, awesome idea. Reboot a property, put a woman in there. Boom! Millions of dollars, right? No. Never really works out that way. Over in Japan, they don't do any of this stuff. They just come up with new stories, and they do what they can to make them entertaining. They literally look at what the crowd wants, and they make it, regardless if that will bother anybody or not. They just put the story out. And doing that and not pandering works for them. That's why the stories are so good and so successful, in my opinion. That's the key ingredient that even this article and the Twitter thread that they're talking and referencing about here misses. So let's take a look at this. Eastern manga has always had something of a friendly rivalry with that of Western comic books, while comic books are still seen as something as a niche hobby, despite the smash success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's another thing. That's how you know that these comics that they're making aren't taking off, because you literally have Captain Marvel, which did a lot of money, despite if you like it or not. It did very well. The comic book, though, sees none of that translate over to it. The book is almost on the verge of getting canceled again. That character's never had a hit comic book. It's almost like they can take any garbage tier character out of Marvel, turn it into a movie, and it works. I think, though, that Marvel formula is kind of starting to wear off. We'll see, though. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like Spider-Man Far From Home, despite my criticisms of the movie, still did pretty dang good at the box office. Made a lot of money. But regardless, that doesn't transfer to the comics. Now, an anime still does good off of the manga, but that's kind of a different, gets comparing cinema, to comics, and then manga to a TV show. So it's a little bit different. But manga is widely accepted in Japan with both kids and adults. That's a good point right here, too. Over here in America, kids aren't reading comics. They are reading manga. Which is an important thing if you want the medium to continue. The fact that, nobody young is reading comic books is a problem for the industry, because that means once everyone ages out of comics, they're not going to be able to be sustainable. They're going to be pretty much like dollar store items because no one's going to be interested in them. And how can you be interested in them? I mean, just look at this garbage right here. No one wants to read this. All right. But this, even though it's a paid promotion thing, this is what they come up with. We got to have this, that, and this kind of check boxes hit, and then we can go ahead and design the story. So anyway, anime executives at the panel for Project Anime discussed why they believe that manga sales are currently overtaking those in the comic books in the West proper. So there's some interesting things here that they do point out that I think are worth talking about. While this Twitter thread may be quite long, it is interesting to dig through and see some of the interesting reasons as to why manga is becoming more popular worldwide. One factor we never even imagined, which is mentioned here, is Japan's population rate problems. So I'm not so sure about this one, but they seem to do mention it. So Japan is having a little bit of a problem with birth rates because no one's getting it on. It's quite worrying. And because of that, there's a couple of things going on. They're even bringing in people from, the States and giving them jobs as like interns or educations at animated schools so that they can learn how to draw the Japanese style. It's very interesting what's going on, but sales have declined in Japan due to these population numbers going down. Manga has been made to become more appealing to audiences worldwide in order to garner the lost sales. Now, this is an interesting point, like I was saying, that they made here. However, here's the difference. It seems like they're still approaching them like they're doing it for Japan, not for the world. It's like the manga comes first for Japan, and then they tailor some ideas to put it outside the world. Or maybe they throw in some ideas. Well, it's like My Hero Academia, right? I do believe that was designed to appeal to a Western audience, but there's no pandering, is there? That's the thing. Like, everything that's worthwhile creatively, as far as books and animation, is coming out of Japan now, not coming out of here. All we get out of here are woke busters or or Axe body spray woke heroes and stuff. It's really sad. There's just nothing happening creative-wise over here in the West anymore. So they make some really good points down here. Another really interesting phenomenon that is documented here is that executives discuss the fundamental changes that we are now seeing with anime and manga today versus 5 years ago. One executive noted that 5 years ago, the main battle for these properties was Crunchyroll versus Funimation, but today it's Warner Brothers, Sony Pictures, Amazon, and Netflix joining the fray. Regardless, this will be very interesting. This will be a very interesting trend to study as we move forward into the future. So that's a really good point on how major studios are trying to jump in on all of this anime and manga now. And it really shows you how they're going over there now and importing all of these stories. They've been trying to make successful movies for a while. I guess Battle Angel Alita was pretty close to the original material. I've never read that manga, so I can't judge it. I do need to sit down and read it so I can see how good it is. But there's no mistaking that Hollywood is interested. And like I said before, I do believe that Sony bought Funimation because they want to get in on these properties and they want to make movies. So it's interesting to see where we go with this. It'd also be interesting to see if this just keeps on moving as a trend. As comic sales die out, will manga sales keep going? Because manga is not on the decline here. People say comics are dead, but I have to disagree. When you see the sales and success of manga and the independent comics in CG, even, I think that comics are alive and well. Just nobody wants to read garbage like this. Nobody likes this crap. So what do? They look elsewhere. Manga's cheap. It's not confusing. If I go into a store, and I did a video on this. This is why manga is taking over the industry. It's an older video. But I went into a Barnes and Nobles and I showed people, look, if I want to get My Hero Academia and I want to get into it, what do I get? I get the big number 1. If I want to get into Batman, which one do I pick? They're not labeled. They're mess. Some books are bigger than others. You have no idea where to start. It's confusing. And for some people, probably intimidating. So, the woker that comics get, the better and better manga looks. And I wouldn't be surprised. And I've been saying it for a while. I think you're going to see Marvel close their doors. Marvel Comics, anyway, close their doors in the next few years. They're probably going to license out the characters to IDWs and stuff like that, smaller companies, and they'll write the comics. But you will see the end of Marvel internally writing their books because there's no money in it for Disney. I guarantee you they'd rather just let somebody pay them to make bad products, and I think you're going to see that happen. So anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Are you surprised? Are you shocked? I want to hear your answers. What reasons do you like manga over comics? Let me know. I'd like to read those. Also, make sure you're still subscribed. YouTube's been playing its games. Also, check out my Teespring store. I don't have much in there yet, but I put a couple shirts in there. Got a couple products. It was really easy to do. I try to keep the prices as low as I can in there. So check that out. Let me know what you think of that. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see in there, let me know. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Twitch link. That's in the description as well. Give me a follow over there. Trying to do some game streams. Trying to build that platform up. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see ya.